What's going on, everybody? My name is Alexandr, also known as Sandryevits.
And my name is Iurii, also known as Star-Lord.
We are going to present an interesting video about a very anticipated FPS game called Doom Eternal. The structure of this video is similar to our Doom 64 video. People who watched it know our approach and topics that we wish to discuss. Those who have not, do not worry, because we shall pinpoint exact ideas that we wish to discuss and share with our audience. From this video you are going to find out not only general take on graphical standpoint, gameplay, performance, story and design by itself, and in comparison with Doom 2016. But also each of us is going to formulate and share his subjective thoughts on the stuff that were exciting, confusing and bad for our own preferences.
Regarding everything that has been said before, this content is still subjective take on this game. Nothing here is going to persuade you to take any course of action with which you do not agree, and this is not our purpose. After all, you will decide what to do with your time and money. In the end, our job is to present this content to the audience and share with them our thoughts about this game. That being said, let us move on to the things that were enlisted as our first point of interest and start discussing them.
We would like to start by stating the obvious fact. Texture details, lighting, shadows, etc. are those parameters that very clearly improved compared to Doom 2016. We will not focus on them that much here. Instead, we would like to discuss other graphical and design decisions which clearly had outmatched in a good way everything that has been present in the previous installment. You heard us right, folks, we are not dividing graphics from design in this game, because here, unlike anywhere else, they are working hand in hand and directly complementing each other. Example of this is definitely level design. Previously, our protagonist for the most part was fighting in confined areas. There were a few exceptions that tried to create a sense of scale and epic proportions, but they were few and far in between. In Doom Eternal, even in the initial mission, you are astonished by the magnificent structures, beautiful sightseeing, insanely detailed landscapes. Everything from building to laboratories, from weapons to spaceships, and from streets to other planets creates a unique atmosphere, which only gets better once you visit quote-unquote otherworldly places. This even puts to shame some AAA blockbuster Hollywood movies. You can take a screenshot in-game and print it on a white wall for the sake of creating your own quote-unquote handmade wallpaper, which you will not regret of doing. Even battle arenas were enlarged, so that sense of scale would never diminish. Now, do not get too excited here. This is still not an open world game type. However, we think that this game invented a new standard for other quote-unquote linear FPS games, which is the achievement in and of itself. Enemies' design and their graphics, be it older and familiar monsters or new ones, is also a direct improvement over Doom 2016. This time it is done not only by upgrading texture details, but also improving damage model on them. Their wounds, missing body parts and limbs, naked bones and so on and so forth is the thing that aesthetically pleases the player of his successful actions against them. Some of you may probably pity those poor demons because of how hurt they might look to you. I'm just kidding. Even without any kind of HUD display, you can determine how wounded those monsters are, and we think, just like with level design, this feature should be done by default in any kind of FPS games. Surprisingly, even before Doom Eternal, this damage model feature was implemented to a degree in Resident Evil 2 Remake, which was good, yet later it was downgraded in Resident Evil 3 Remake. In that regard, Doom Eternal damage model is definitely outstanding. When it comes to weapons, they are not only looking amazing, but sounds amazing as well. Personally, we think that the only significant difference here, compared to Doom Reboot, is a texture detail improvement as well as redesign of some of the weapons. Some of their quote-unquote look was brought back from classic Doom games and polished in terms of details to new standards. Some examples of that would be Plasma Rifle, Rocket Launcher as well as Unmaker, a weapon which we were also surprised by seeing it, especially considering the fact that it pays homage to Doom 64 game itself, and players who played through it like we did prior to the playthrough of Doom Eternal. In addition to that, you can unlock new skins on your weapons by completing some of the challenges in the main story campaign, which you can use in your current playthrough or in other ones as well. We think that this is a definitely step in the right direction, especially for those games where single-player aspect takes priority, and developers have not tried to hide all skins behind paywall. But even without any homages, aesthetically they have been done magnificently, and we cannot add anything more to it other than express our respect and genuine gratitude towards game developers. Now that we have discussed graphics and design aspects, we would like to bring another topic, and it is gameplay.
One thing that immediately becomes obvious after you play and complete several encounters, even in the first mission, is the fact that this game is more challenging, even compared to Doom 2016. We are among those who completed Doom Reboot on Ultra Violence, and we started our playthrough of this game on the same level of difficulty. And while enemies are tougher, they will deal more damage, as well as have more health, and you will collect less health, ammo, armor. Those are not the things that made us adapt to more challenges. Distinct features, which were amplified tremendously, are speed and mobility. Whether you take into account your character or enemies, the fact stays the same. In order for you to survive, you will need to constantly run, jump, dash and climb to avoid getting killed. A second of delay kills. This does not by any means an exaggeration. Effective gameplay here looks like Unreal Tournament multiplayer or Quake 3 Arena, although without rocket jumps. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Every old enemy is not only faster, they will also have new abilities in their arsenal, which implies that your old tactics will not going to work here. You would still have to adapt and create new strategies. As an example, Hell Knight can jump 3 times, and upon its landing, create an AoE damage shockwave, something that he has never done before in Doom Reboot. On top of that, your total amount of ammunition has been lowered by half. Even if you fully upgrade its capacity. For instance, Doom 2016 allows you to have 50 shells, here only 25. This limits the usage of your weapons, and it will force you to utilize additional guns or grenades to gain the upper hand. The chainsaw has also been reworked, and you cannot upgrade your amount of charges no longer. Instead, your maximum amount is limited to 3 charges. 1 charge will be replenishing itself so that you can use it on lesser demons to gain more resources. Luckily, our protagonist is also improving from the last time we seen him. Remember when we said about speed and mobility aspects? Here you can double dash in any direction, even in mid-air, double jump, utilize any kind of bars, ledges or platforms, outrun, and outmaneuver your adversaries. A bigger size of combat arena is something that you'll appreciate for that matter. However, you will still need to move strategically, because running around like headless chicken and doing no kind of return fire will do you no good. This is why the other distinct feature here, unlike Doom 2016, demons have weak spots that you definitely need to exploit fully if you wish to preserve as much health, armor and ammo as possible.
while doing the most damage, of course. One of the examples that we will share with you is shooting Baron of Hell with chain gun will stagger him to the point where he will no longer attack you and just take the quote-unquote beating. Regular grenades are reworked, and now you will rely on their damage factor and utility, unlike Doom Reboot, where they were pretty much pointless. Well, at least in the single-player campaign. Some alternative fire modes for weapons have been changed to provoke quote-unquote fresh feelings that you had with new moveset of older enemies. As an example of it, Super Shotgun allows you to fire a hook shot that attaches to a demon and allows you to shorten the distance with him faster. This fits with the topic of overall speed and mobility. Those are not all new gameplay elements that you will encounter, yet they are the most impactful one for any kind of player. The other we will discuss in a segment where we shall express our personal but subjective opinion. We think that those elements greatly improved this game's formula, but we cannot say for sure that everyone will enjoy them though. With that being said, let us briefly touch upon the story and performance aspects.
Here, without spoiling too much, we will just say that the story segment is a direct continuation of Doom 2016 game, although years after its conclusion. The story also pays homage, with the help of some cutscenes and levels, to the Doom 2 Hell on Earth. If you have not played previous installment and you want to know what happened before, we would recommend you to check YouTube story videos for it, because in this game there will be no recollection of the events that happened before. When it comes to overall story progression, it feels natural, without any sudden black screen teleportation like in Resident Evil 3 Remake, and it expands the universe in which the action takes place, that answers lots of questions, but sadly creates many new ones. Major plus for us is in the fact that the ending is not a cliffhanger, meaning that from start to finish, story arc that takes place here concludes. As for the performance topic, we have no problem running this game in 60 FPS 99% of the time, in Full HD resolution with our settings set to high. The game was played from SSD on Ryzen 5 3600 plus GTX 1660 Ti, and 16GB of RAM clocked at 3200 GHz. There was only one instance where you can clearly see drops of frame rate on the screen that we will demonstrate to you on the video, but other than that everything ran smoothly, and we think as long as your PC fits into minimum or recommended requirements, you should have no problem hitting 60 FPS bar with a few tweaks of your settings. Now it's time to express our personal take on it and share with you some confusing, nice or bad things. Alexander's opinion. I like almost all the stuff that the developers added or reinvented in this game when it comes to gameplay. With my playstyle and with weapons that I like to use, which are chain gun, super shotgun and ballista, eventually I was able to get accustomed to those changes, considering the fact that you do not shoot 2 times with super shotgun before reloading, and instead you get hookshot that allows you to grapple to one enemy and shorten the distance with him. Thematically and gameplay-wise it makes more sense, from exploiting enemy weaknesses to movement factor as well as precision and cold calculations in your actions that you need to do to succeed despite chaos going on around you, is something that I find exciting to play and overcome. Overall, I had genuine fun with the combat system, even though there were plenty of deaths along the way. One thing that has felt more disappointing to me is a new melee attack called Blood Punch. It is useful only against a couple of enemies like Pinky or Cyber Mancubus, because you can instantly keep first demon and remove armor from second one. Against mid-tier and other high-tier demons, this is a pretty pointless ability, since it does lackluster area of effect damage, plus it does not heal you that much. Even when you get the opportunity to perform Blood Punch twice before it goes on cooldown, it does not change picture drastically. I get what they tried to implement, but they should have included the option to upgrade its strength, range, and lower the cooldown to be more effective. Another thing that felt awkward is inability to prolong or upgrade power-ups effects compared to Doom 2016. Not only that, but throughout the game you will rarely see Berserk, Haste or Quad damage power-ups, and those that you will pick up are going to last approximately 5 seconds. A compromise could be made so that you will not abuse them like in Doom Reboot. However, in Doom Eternal you cannot significantly change the outcome of any battle, even if you wish to use any of those power-ups for it. From things that I liked and things that felt awkward, I will move to the things that were received by me in a negative way. I did not enjoy a retcon of some of the key story events that happened in the last game in favor of creating a MacGuffin that serves in the story as a weak attempt at explaining how exactly main protagonist overcome most challenging battle in Doom 2016 and how he will do it yet again in this game, especially considering the fact that this was created out of the blue, because not a single lore note in Doom Reboot or in a cutscene hints you about it. And the way how it was implemented in the story was also something that I was not excited about. During gameplay, this MacGuffin visually looks good, and you can use it for the sake of instantly killing even toughest demons, but I would wish things wasn't tied that much with the previous installment. Luckily, those were the only negative things that I shared with you guys as my subjective opinion. Everything else was done masterfully. I hope that those developers will not disappoint us with any kind of future games. Personally, I would not mind to play quote-unquote Final Doom sometime in the future, yet I'm hoping for Quake remake done in the similar or even better fashion. But I shall wait and see what will happen in the future. I will definitely recommend this game not only for those who played Doom Reboot or those who played any kind of Doom games before, but also any kind of quote-unquote mid shooters like Painkiller, Bulletstorm. Just keep in mind the fact that earlier missions would be very tough, even for experienced individuals, and it takes some time to adapt to the combat mechanics. If you are okay with this, then give this game a shot. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. With that said, I will pass the word to my brother Iurii.
Yuri's opinion. Doom Eternal was a truly amazing and anticipated game for me since I finished Doom 2016 and saw the obvious sequel bait ending. And after years of wait, the sequel was out and we immediately started to play it. In order to make sure that my opinion is going to cover both positives and negatives, I will separate both of those things from another and start with the stuff that I liked. Visuals, music, sound, and dynamic gameplay makes this title a true definition of quote-unquote mid FPS game. You see, when it comes to this type of genre, should you take out at least one of those parts, you will not going to receive the same feeling. Luckily, developers from ID Software knew how to make such games. And this is why Doom Eternal feels and plays like a very solid, once again, quote-unquote, mid first-person shooter. One of those changes that people who played Doom 2016 will see is, of course, the tempo of the game. Eternal is much faster, dynamic, and unforgiving. Those things force players to get used to the dashing, jumping, constantly running around the arena. Additionally, Doomguy will have bombs, new upgrades for suits and weapons, and 3 runes that you can use and gain various different bonuses. Overall, the game developers have made sure that the balance is kept intact, and the dynamic and fun factor that player will receive from combat is also being present there as well. Another thing that I liked, and it is again related to how the combat of the game feels, are the weapons and tools, as well as their upgrades. Pretty much all of the weapons from Doom 2016 are present in Eternal, excluding Gauss Rifle that is replaced with Ballista. Though they are kinda the same, so you can look at them as the same weapon. New weapon, Unmaker, also being added, and some amazing tools such as Freeze Grenade and Frag Grenade has been created to help our protagonist in his battles against demons. I should also mention the fact that the old weapons have received new upgrades. That thing was like a fresh bread. To me, it felt really good. My positive impression did not stop there, because of how exciting it is to use all of those mentioned weapons and tools in combat, and not just spam 2 or 3 weapons like it happened most of the time in Doom 2016. And honestly, the low amount of ammo that is given to the player is made specifically for us to use as many weapons and tools as possible. To someone, this may seem chaotic. To me, it's simply amazing. Now I will touch the stuff that I didn't like. First things first. Why exactly our levels in this game are so long? Personally, I found this factor to be annoying, because spending more than 1 hour on a single mission is way too much for a mid first-person shooter. Like, I get that this has to do something with us playing also like for the first time and trying to explore and find different stuff like secrets, collectibles, as well as commenting at the same time, and once again it being our first playthrough. But seriously, because of that, excitement goes to waste over time and you start to feel kind of bored, thinking, when will the new mission start exactly? In my personal opinion, they should have made more shorter missions rather than having few but long one, the drawn out one. Another thing that I didn't like was the story. To me, most of the plot made a little bit of sense at best, and added retcons and new elements to the already established lore made it even more convoluted and pointless, especially the parts about Sentinels, which I didn't really like since Doom 2016, and didn't like them here as well, since they've been not present in previous Doom 1, Doom 2, Hell on Earth, as well as some broken artifacts that the protagonist had to use in order to defeat like some of the demons, which again, referring to Doom 1 and Doom 2 Hell on Earth, he didn't need any kind of side artifacts. Why he needs them here, who knows? To me, a guy who played original Doom and Doom Hell on Earth and read the story of those games, new lore is just way too strange and a little bit confusing, and even sometimes uninteresting to read. But that's my own and subjective opinion, so you are free to either agree or disagree with that. I'm okay. I just express my personal thoughts here. Next dislike that I want to point out has to do with the lack of meaningful upgrades for your Predator suit tokens and for the Sentinel crystals. Don't get me wrong, there are some very good upgrades, but at least 25% of your total upgrades are pointless at best. One of those upgrades is going to be respawning barrels. After you shoot a barrel, after time, it will going to respawn. This upgrade would be useful should the game had more barrels, but there are way too few of them to make this upgrade worthy, so why do you even include this stuff there? Or let's take the exploration upgrades, the one that will allow you to increase the radius when you move on the location on the map, the map is going to be exploring much faster. The exploration radius is going to be wider. If you have decided to find secrets and to explore and that stuff, there is much better upgrade there that allows you to see hidden items and secrets on the map. So who needs that radius upgrade? It's me. It is there, but why it is there and why would you want it? I don't know. With Sentinel crystals, it's kind of the same thing. They are not bad by all means, but they lack variety. Most of the upgrades will going to be aiming towards your Blood Punch, towards your Flame Belch, and those upgrades will going to give you like a little bit more HP from Blood Punch, a little bit more armor from Flame Belch. Yes, might be good, but I would like to see some variety, like maybe when you kill an enemy who is frozen by the freeze grenade, you kill him and he explodes in shards and those shards will damage or stun nearby enemies. That would be good. Why not? I don't know. But those were pretty much all of the negatives that I wanted to mention, and as you can see, they are not something big, but just my personal preferences that I wanted to share with you. The same thing goes for the positive things as well. Once again, I will state that I enjoyed this game so much that I will definitely going to play it again in the future. And if someone would have asked me if I can recommend this game to others, I will of course recommend it to anyone who likes first-person shooter games or quote-unquote meat shooters. That was it for my personal opinion. Now we will going to move on towards the conclusion of this video.
Overall, we think that this game's value is outstanding in a positive way. Whether you are a fan of this genre or not, one thing is certain. This game is a new standard for mid first-person shooters, just like Witcher 3 has created a new standard for any kind of open-world action RPGs. Doom Eternal did the same thing. This shows how much a talented, passionate and dedicated team can do even for a single-player games. Even though some foolish individuals think that nowadays and in the future any kind of single player would be extinct in favor of multiplayer games. We hope that this game will influence other game developers to create more first-person shooters like this and improve on an existing formula so that this genre will still live on. Everything that has been said in this video was our own subjective opinion, and you had the opportunity to hear both sides before you can make your own decision.
We tried to share our thoughts as well as shed some light on the stuff that was worth to discuss. On that note, we would like to thank anyone for watching this video. Post your comments in the comment section and tell us if you like the style of quote-unquote analysis from both sides and do you want to see more of it in the future. Additionally, leave a like, share this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy this kind of content and want to see more of it. If you wish to be always up to date with our future projects, consider following us on social media pages, Twitter or Facebook. The choice is yours. Also, consider supporting us directly via donating to us by clicking on our Streamlabs donation link or by visiting our Patreon page, where you will be awarded with different perks and bonuses like early access to edited videos, Q&A videos with your participation, or behind-the-scenes stuff. Your help is always appreciated and motivates us to create more videos and improve visual, audio and special effects aspects. With that said, we will see you all in the next videos. Take care!